episode of I Might Need This Later, a Gamers podcast. My name's Joe, and with me, as always, are my dudes. One of them, on a scale from 1 to 10, is easily an 11, and the other, the most likely to die at the beginning of a scary movie. It's Jesse and Connor. What's up, boys?
Oh God.
Oh, I
I
know I
think
got that one.
yeah, Connor's the guy dying at the scary movie for sure.
Oh no, you you would die in
I
the
would
beginning because I would survive totes.
no factually that's not true because I just wouldn't be there.
That's
You
You
just
would
wouldn't be there.
be like, oh, I'm in, and I'd be like, all right, you go die then.
and you have way
I don't
more
know. I
guns
think
than me.
with Connor's scary movie or scary game prowess, he has the edge on us, or at least you.
I just wouldn't put in the disc.
See, that's where I was thinking too, Joe. That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah,
Well, we'll, we'll agree that you're both wrong.
we'll agree to disagree. Anyway, we have another awesome episode lined up for you guys today. We're going to talk about some games we wish had sequels that were good.
Yes.
Such an open-ended question, but I'm really excited to talk about it. But first, let's jump into our question of the week. What do you have for us, Jess?
All right. So this week, very simple. I want to know who your favorite streamer is.
Favorite streamer. Okay. Connor, you go first.
Oh man, there's so many ways to take this question of like there's like skill, there's like how involved they are with chat. So I kind of took this question with skill. And so I went with my man Shroud, the human aimbot. Like he is just so incredible to watch just because of his sheer level of talent. Like he just like messes around in games and like no scopes people in PUBG. Like he's just incredible every time. And just watching it just makes me feel so bad about playing the game.
So Shroud, huh?
My boy,
Okay.
Shroudy Rowdy.
Well, I really struggled with this question because I don't really watch particular streamers more often than another. I find that it's easier with my schedule to like consume my content through YouTube rather than Twitch. But if we're talking about streamers specifically, then I'm gonna go with a streamer by the name of Arumba. He plays a lot of like the grand strategy games that I play, like Europa Universalis 4, Crusader Kings 3, Stellaris, etc. Uh, in addition to being incredibly good at each of the games he plays, I like that he tries to understand the math behind certain mechanics in each of the games, which is something that always fascinates me from like a min-maxing standpoint. So by default, I guess I'm going to go with Orumba because I really don't watch a lot of things live, but if I do, I try to catch him.
Is that the guy that cleans my living room?
Yeah, the Roomba. Yeah, that's him.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it.
Yeah, he did you not know that that guy's on Twitch?
If it would make sense because he's not doing a good job with the cleaning. I assume that's what he's doing with all his time.
He's got another career on the side.
All right, I understand now. All right, and for me, I'm going with my boy Pestily, mostly known for streaming Escape from Tarkov. He is, in my opinion, the best streamer because he does a lot of charity stuff. I think last year he raised over $1 million for the kids. He does the whole thing. I forgot that it's Starlight. Starlight. They're an organization that helps children out. So all of his donos go there. Plus, he is, in my opinion, the best Escape from Tarkov player. He's one like I'll watch him for like 5-6 hours, and I'm like, all right, got it. Log in, got this, no problem. Instantly dead. All right, I don't know what happened, and yeah, and then secondarily, he's got an Australian accent because he's Australian, obviously, which is awesome, and he has a fantastic mustache.
Ooh, the mustache.
Does have a
Yes,
fantastic mustache, I agree.
All right,
I,
well, I mean, I have to check him out now. He's got such a fantastic
it
mustache.
is, it is ridiculous.
It really is so ridiculous.
All right, well, thank you for that question of the week, Jess. It was a really difficult one, but I think we got through it pretty good.
Hmm.
I was
Um,
gonna go with himself.
yeah, I was gonna go with myself because honestly, I really don't watch a lot of streams. But yeah, so before we get into today's draft question, we have a very special segment for everyone. We're gonna go over to Jesse's corner for another fun gaming story. All right, Jess, dazzle us.
All right, so I like telling stories about gaming, and this one in particular is a funny one. So I grew up in New York, not a terrible area, but also not the best area, and I was probably trying to think how old I was. I was maybe 12, 13. I was young. It could have been younger than that. It was just about the time that Mario 2 came out on the NES, maybe like 6 months after it. And so me and the family, we go out, have an ice cream, we walk, because there was an ice cream parlor back then, those existed. We walk down to the ice cream parlor. We come back from the ice cream parlor and our neighbor is coming out and he's like, hey, there was some kid in your house and I tried to chase him, but he got away. I couldn't see what he looked like. So we got robbed, welcome to the New York experience. And we go in the house and the kid took, a bunch of stuff. Took a bunch of my mom's jewelry, some other expensive things. And I'm looking around and I noticed that he took my Mario 2 cartridge.
Oh,
Just my Mario 2 cartridge. He left every other game, the system, all the controllers, everything. The TV, still there. Mario 2, gone.
So he was like a considerate robber. He was like, "Yo, I'll steal the valuables, but I'm not trying to destroy this kid's childhood. I too want to play this game."
Yes. And I was so mad that for years, I'm like, I am never playing Mario 2. I'm not letting this guy get the best of me. I was just... I think I'm still mad about it to this day. I was hoping to find this kid.
So do you know for sure that it was actually a kid?
No, it was the guy, our neighbor said he was probably in his teens or early 20s, just running away, cackling maniacally with my Mario 2. Like, I can't wait to play Princess. She just floats. So I'm a little hurt. That's a story about how I didn't play Mario 2 for like 20 years. I bet nobody else has a ridiculous story like that.
The hatred runs deep. 20 years.
Every other story is like, yeah, he took the whole system and everything, took the TV and John's pants.
Oh man, not John's pants.
Gosh,
Poor guy's always losing them.
Didn't even leave the pants. So inconsiderate.
Well, I feel bad for you, Mario 2, Jess. I'm sorry about that.
Thanks, man.
I'll get you one for Christmas.
I don't.
Oh wait, that game's probably ridiculously expensive right now.
Nah, I own it now.
Oh, you own it now? Okay, never mind. You're not getting it for Christmas.
Yeah, I had to move to Arizona because he might come back and try to get another copy.
He's tracking you down already as we speak.
Oh man!
You just told him. You just told him where you lived.
Exactly.
Actually, I live on Saturn.
Boom. Talk to Elon Musk. He'll get you there.
Yep. All right. Well, thank you for that ridiculous story about your poor Mario 2.
That's what I come with.
Yep. All right. So let's get to it. Today's draft question. So we are going to be talking about the games that we wish had a sequel, or if they already have a sequel, they come back with a good version of it. So for this week, the order, as determined by names from a hat, is Jesse with the first pick.
Hey now.
I'll have the second pick, and Connor gets the wheel.
Ooh.
All right, so
start it off, Jess.
Okay, so we're all going to agree that none of us are going to choose Star Wars Episode 6. We're all going to agree that.
Okay.
Oh, wait, that's a movie. All right, cool. All right.
Yeah, we good.
Wow, you're just going to hit me with the low blows like that, isn't that? Yeah, I think.
Wait, Episode 6 is Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, we don't want a sequel to that. We don't want a sequel to that.
Okay. Gotcha.
All right. So I'm going to go... Hey, there we go. All right, so with my first pick, I'm going to go one that I think is going to be on Joe's list. Since I'm first pick, I'm going to steal it, so you don't get it. I'm going to go with the game we talked about prior, Uncharted Waters New Horizons.
Was not on my list because I knew you were going to do that.
Good, there you go. So we spoke about Uncharted Waters New Horizons in the past. It's a semi-open world pirate / ship game, I guess I'll call it. I'm not going to go that deep into it, but there was actually an MMO that came out of it. The problem was it's terrible. I played it. It's just not very good. And the idea of this game coming out with the sequel on either maybe PC or like the new consoles, PS5, Xbox, was it Xbox One? I don't even know what the new Xbox is. Xbox 7?
Xbox
there
One.
It is.
Yeah.
Series
Oh
One
my.
X series box.
Xbox is ridiculous. All right. But the idea of a game like that coming out, like a game where it's the globe, the Earth, and even if it was the same exact storyline with awesome graphics, the same feel to it, I think that would be insane. You would choose one of maybe you got other characters, 8 different characters where they have different things that they have to do. Like we were talking about. You have a cartographer, so your whole plan is to create a map of the world. The game is based on when we first started sailing the entire ocean. Or you have the woman that's a pirate and trying to find her brother. But so it's the same storyline, but with updated graphics, with the updated engines, and they're obviously things can change. The battle system can get a little bit better, and probably the dueling can get a little better. But I think that is a game that I might have to put in PTO for a month at my job.
Yep. I couldn't agree more with you on that
So,
one.
so I would look forward to an Uncharted Waters New Horizons 2.
All right. I was gonna do my one out of left field first, but I'm a little scared that if I don't say this one now, that Jesse's gonna steal it at some point. So I'm gonna go with I want to see a sequel to Super Mario RPG. That's a game I'd love to see a sequel to. So easily one of the most fun RPGs I've ever played. The game combines platforming with typical like JRPG turn-based combat in like almost seamless fashion. Like you really felt like you're just playing a Mario platformer, but at the same time you'd get into turn-based battles against Goombas and paratroopers based on if you were good at the platforming or not. The game also introduces you to Bowser as a quote unquote good guy, I guess you would say, but pretty much it shows you the lengths that he would go to in order to preserve his status as the top bad guy in the Mushroom Kingdom.
The
And
baddest.
yeah, he wants to be the
Bad guy.
baddest of the bad. He wants to be a bad dude. And I really want to see a sequel where we follow Gino
Oh yeah.
back to the stars and he goes on a quest to get rid of Smithy from the universe rather than just kicking him out of Bowser's castle. That's what I want to see. So,
So,
Super Mario RPG.
what's funny? I was thinking about that, and it was in my head, but the problem I ran into was Paper Mario is in another Mario RPG that came after, and I think Paper Mario had a second Paper Mario, so that's kind of why I didn't go with it. But I completely agree. Following Gino would be awesome. Gino is such a cool character, and we didn't. I mean, after that, was he in anything else? I don't even know.
I don't think so. I mean, I could be wrong though, but I don't
Here,
remember seeing him in anything else.
this will show right now. Connor, do you have any idea who Gino is?
Not even a little bit.
There you go.
There you go. He's never been in anything else then. So yeah, Super Mario RPG. All right, what do you got, Connor?
All right, so for my first pick, honestly, it was just because I loved the game and I beat it, and I don't know how they would do a second one, but I feel like there's a lot of creative minds out there. There'd be a way to do it. But Dante's Inferno, it came
Oh, that's
out
a good one.
like that game came out like a decade ago, so it's a little bit not old, but it's been around for a while. And I fell in love with the story. Like I'm not usually a hack and slash kind of guy, but I loved the story, just the way that everything unfolded. I don't necessarily know how they would make a sequel to it, but just being able to relive that journey with Dante trying to find Beatrice, or maybe if they had like a child that then he had to go then and save again or something. I don't know how they would do that, but that would be a really cool sequel in my opinion.
Is that game 10 years old?
It is. I just watched a video the other day that said that's what brought it to my attention. Was I watched a video the other day and it said it was a decade old. I was like, "What?"
Is that video also a decade old?
No,
Oh yeah,
I want to say it was from like Game Ranks on Facebook.
the, the original. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
I feel like
February
the game's
4th,
so much
2010.
older.
Yeah, same. That's what I was thinking.
And so just like I feel like how graphically far we've come in these 10 years, they could really design a beautiful game with that and and have like just as much of a story that you fall in love with.
Yeah, well, my wife would love that. She played the original.
Because it's amazing. So for my second pick, it is already in the works. It's going to be a thing. And me and Jesse were talking about it earlier before the podcast is Overwatch 2.
Hmm.
I got
Lo-
some things to add when you're done.
I know you're gonna hate on it, but I am
No, that's not true. That's
not
not true.
no? Okay, well then I'm excited to hear. But I loved Overwatch. I was there from release day before competitive was a thing. It was only quick play, like so I started from the beginning, and so I feel like they've added so much, not necessarily DLC because it was all free, you know what I mean, but just to be able to take it to the next level. And I feel like Blizzard as a company has that ability to create something completely new with characters that we've already fallen in love with, especially since they have like, the cinematics. I don't know if you guys have watched the Overwatch cinematics, but I loved those.
Mhm.
And I feel like they could really build upon that in Overwatch 2 and have you re-fall in love with the characters all over again.
So we obviously spoke about this prior. My concern is that it's going to split the player base in two. Maybe not in two, but a percent will not go to Overwatch 2. You have your casual Overwatch players. I know I'm one of them. I'll pick up Overwatch and play it for a little bit every once in a while. I'm not going to spend $50 to get another game that's going to be the same exact thing. That,
Hmm.
like there's a reason why there's no League of Legends 2. There's a reason why there's no Fortnite 2. There's a reason why games that continue to adapt, continue to add new content, continue to add new characters, mechanics, blah blah blah. There's a reason why you don't come out with a second one. We were talking about earlier, you said, well, they have to make money. They're Blizzard.
Yeah, they're
They,
they're making money hand over fist with Overwatch, like
I think
regardless.
they're okay.
Well,
Yeah,
which is why I
And
feel like they could invest that into an Overwatch 2 and create, and I feel like that you're right. They would have to do something completely innovative. And I feel like from what I've heard and what I've read, I could be wrong, so don't quote me, but they were like talking about having a single player mode, like having and so bringing those new things to the table to keep it fresh.
see that's something that I would be interested in. If they are going to make a completely new game or Overwatch 2, then it needs to be different from what Overwatch already is. Like we're going to get into that meme of, hey, can we get this? Oh, we have this at home, and it's just Overwatch again.
You're not
the
wrong.
thing I said was, I I think the way you make it work is if you make it free. I think that's the way you make it work, because then
That's
100%.
never going to happen.
Yeah, but then you 100% of the players go from Overwatch to Overwatch 2. It's not, then you don't run into the issue where you have casual players who are like, I don't want to spend $50 to play the same game. Well, even if it's the same game, like, I guess the other thing you could do is you can make Overwatch 2 free if you own Overwatch 1. That would work too, and that would be fine. But there are some concerns there that it's not going to be different enough. For me, it's not, it's my take, my opinion, and I'm fine with that. StarCraft 2 was not different enough and like good enough. StarCraft 2 was not that much better than StarCraft 1 in my opinion. I played StarCraft 2 for 10 hours like when it came out, and it just felt like StarCraft 1, a little bit better graphics. The mechanics felt the same. I know things have changed, the game probably has changed, but like StarCraft 2 came out how many years after StarCraft 1? 100. And it
Right.
really did not, it didn't change the game for me, and that would be my worry with Overwatch. When did Overwatch come out?
Uh, I don't know offhand.
Yeah, quite a few years ago.
Yeah, if he'd been
And
a
For
few
so,
years.
yeah, so Overwatch 2 would need to really do that much more for me. That's my concern.
Fair.
Yeah, I just worry that they're not going to make the game different enough to warrant me wanting to buy it. Spending another $60 to buy it. But we'll see. I could be wrong.
Very valid.
We hope to be wrong.
Yeah. All right. So for my second pick, I'm gonna go with one from out of left field that you guys will never see coming.
Okay.
All right. I want to see a sequel, even though it's already happened. I want a new one for Crazy Taxi.
Okay.
Yeah. So now I know there's already a couple sequels for this game, but nothing's been released since like the early 2000s. Now, Crazy Taxi, in addition to having like this incredible soundtrack, the game just plays to like our basest desires. Like we all just want to drive around recklessly in town doing sick tricks. Like there's no way I could ever be unhappy playing that game. You're just cruising around town, doing barrel rolls in a taxi, drop people off at their destinations. Like I want to see an updated version of that game with next gen graphics and more ways to destroy the environment. I would easily spend money on them. There's no way that I would not play that game. So I want to see Crazy Taxi next gen.
Or Crazy Uber.
Crazy Uber.
I
There
think
you
that.
go, Uber. There's your next big money idea.
There it is.
All right. To me with the wheel. So I have so many written down. How am I gonna narrow this down? All right, I'm gonna go with a cool one that I think would be awesome. One that I've been thinking about for a while, which is Pokemon the Pokemon trading card game. Um, yeah, this is one I've been thinking about for a while. If anybody hasn't played it, I think it was I believe it was Game Boy Advance. It was.
It might have been color, but regardless, go ahead.
No, I'm not sure. I think it was Game Boy Advance, but the concept of the game is simple. You start out, they give some storyline. Here's Pokemon cards. Legit, like they're just in the game, and you have like the starter deck that you build. And as you beat it's the same sort of stupid thing as Pokemon, where you can go to different gyms and fight against different trainers. When you fight against the regular trainers, you get regular packs. When you beat them, when you fight against the gym leaders, you get like the upgraded packs, and you can build different decks using the first it was only the first set. It was like the base set, where it was like the Blastoise, Charizard. It was just the original 151 where it was just the OG stuff. But nonetheless, an updated version of that game would be actually it would vomit money. That's right now in this environment where the Pokemon card game somehow exploded again. I don't know how.
Yeah, like
Right.
the opening packs thing on streams, like I don't get it.
I don't get it either. But just imagine that game right now. You come out with a new updated version of the game, the same sort of thing,
Mhm.
and you kind of go from there. Maybe you even do a thing where you're like playing as a kid who's trying to become #1 in the world in the Pokemon card game, and you can go to Pokemon tournaments. You can go down to your local shop and play in, Thursday night Pokemon or Saturday day Pokemon, whatever the tournaments are, and then you can go to like regional tournaments, and it's the same thing. Like there's so many different ideas they can go with, and I think it would be insane. I had the same idea for Magic the Gathering. If anybody out there ever played that, the idea that you could do the same thing with Magic, where you could just play. It's all AI stuff, which is fine. 'Cause some of us still like to play one-player games. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, the idea of making a Pokemon game, a new one, even, I mean, with updated graphics would be cool. I don't know if any of you played back in the day in the old systems. They had like casino related games where you can go into a casino and play, like I could play blackjack, I could play poker, I could play roulette, and you get a certain amount of money. You could go, you're like in a casino and you get to do something like that. It's the same idea in my head with the Pokemon game, where you can kind of do different things with the things that you have.
Cool. I'm down. I'll
I like
spend money
that.
on that.
Yeah.
So with my third pick, oof, this is impossible to narrow down, boys. All right. I'm gonna go with. I guess I just have to go with Skyrim. I'm not. I'm not a fan of the the Elder Scrolls Online stuff. Once again, some people just want to play single player stuff. Skyrim was. I mean, I talk about it a lot. Joe talks about it a bit too. I mean, Skyrim was. I mean, it was earth shattering when it came to the gaming world. It changed the game. It changed the game when it came to gaming. I mean, it set a new precedent for how you're going to make a game, an open world game, and things like that. I mean, it was a masterpiece. So to be able to get another, like in a sequel to it, whatever it may be called, with updated graphics, with a new storyline, with new skill system, maybe new classes, things like that. Because I remember playing Skyrim and like I was like, oh, we're missing like different skill things, like even like something as simple as like a cooking skill thing, like a skill tree for cooking. Even some small additions like that, you get a new storyline, and the biggest thing is, and I've been harping on this forever, is making a game like Skyrim co-op. If you just take Skyrim now as is, make it crossplay and co-op, and then resell it, people would still buy it in mass, because there are so many people out there. I know, for instance, Joe is one of them. He has a nephew who's a gamer whom I don't know if he has a PC, but maybe he's got an Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Joe wants like, yo, you want to play Skyrim together? I'll log on to my PC with the, you log on with your Xbox, we join the game and we play Skyrim. They were working on a Skyrim together mod where you can kind of play. It's I haven't got it to work. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I think it's pretty much dead at this point, but I could be
Yeah.
wrong.
But the idea of like, I've been looking for a game that has co-op crossplay, and we played the one that Epic made, and it was not great. Dauntless, I think, and it was not great to me. And
Yeah.
but in a bigger thing like Skyrim, like Fallout, would be awesome. But Skyrim in particular, just because of the storyline it already has, the history with it, plus the team that was on it. I mean, they built like the whole series, and it's pretty much always been awesome. But just the idea of Skyrim 2, whatever you want to call it, and you make it co-op and crossplay, I think that game would sell like I don't even a badrillion copies. I have to make up a number because that's how many copies I think it would sell.
Well, good news for you, Jess. Elder Scrolls 6 is coming out at some point in the next few years, so maybe that'll scratch that itch for you.
Yeah, but I doubt it's going to be co-op and or crossplay.
As long as it has the Thomas the Tank Engine mod, that's all I care about.
It might.
It probably will. Someone
That's
will put it in.
that's all I need.
So, speaking of games or series that just like scratch an itch that no other game can, for me, the sequel that I'm most anticipating and that I hope is going to be great is Diablo 4. So I know the game's already in development, but like I'm a massive fan of that series and like I want that game to be good in the worst way. Like it just scratches that itch that no other series can do for me. But the thing that frustrates me most about it is we talked about last week is the loot oriented RNG. Like Diablo's up there with the frustration of not getting certain drops. But what Diablo 3 did that its predecessors did not do was they added like seasonal loot that you can get from completing certain objectives. And so you were able to just build a base gear set by doing those objectives. And I want to see them expand on that and also bring new classes to D4 or bring back some missing ones from D2 that I loved, like the Druid or the Assassin, because I miss both of those classes a lot. So I'm really hoping for Diablo 4 to be because Diablo 3 was good, but it didn't have that same wonder and awe that I felt from Diablo 2. So I want D4 to kind of go back to its base, but at the same time be a little bit more expansive in its like seasonal stuff.
I think some of those games, some of the mobile games, they do this thing called a pity system, where after X amount of attempts, you then can get something that you want. Like, so if there's a 10% chance to get the item you want, obviously it's not going to be 10 times, but
Yeah.
say it's 30 times of doing the mob, you then can choose one of the equipments that you want, or 40 or 50, whatever. You get to the certain point where you're just like, this is ridiculous. But at least if there's a pity system where you say hit 50 times you kill the mob, then you get an item you're looking for, that might solve some of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. So one of the cool things that Diablo 3 did was they added like the whole rift system where you just kind of just go through this um it's kind of like a challenge mode also sort of where you just kind of like clear a level and then you go to you hop to the next portal and it gets harder and harder and harder and you have a certain amount of time in order to clear it and the faster that you clear it the better loot that you get and also the higher difficulty that you do the better loot that you get. So I want to see them expand on the rift system as well. I think that would be cool.
There you go.
I like
Diablo 4.
Diablo 4.
I'll
That's
play Diablo 5.
I'll play Diablo 5. I play Diablo 4. I've only played Diablo 3. I didn't play any of the ones before, but I would play Diablo 4.
You should play Diablo 2 then.
Yeah?
You really should.
Is there
Yeah.
still like an active community within Diablo 2?
Oh my gosh, you have no idea. It's still like huge.
Wow.
But that's the thing, you could just play Diablo 2 alone.
That is true.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
That is true. Well, so for my last two picks, I'm gonna go with one that's already been released. It's already a thing. I played through it, not a fan, and I think they need to remake it. Outlast 2, Whistleblower. Um, as everybody knows, I love my horror. I love horror games. It's my jam. I love being scared. But I loved the original Outlast. It was great. It was very suspenseful. It was very just thriller based. And I feel like with Outlast 2, they just went for gore, which to me is just kind of like a cop out to when you're like, oh, I don't have any ideas. Let's just make it like somebody gory. Let's just add some blood. We'll call it a day. And like it was just a whole weird playthrough. There was a lot of nudity, like unnecessary nudity. Not that like it's whatever. I'm not phased by it or anything, but it was just unnecessary. Where you're like, okay, this doesn't have anything to do with anything. Why are you waving that thing in my face? Get it out my face. Like there's two dudes just waving things around, and I'm not a fan of that. I just want to
Two dudes.
like
Four.
I'm not a fan. Like you're just like what is this? And so to me, I really feel like they strayed away from the horror that was great in Outlast 1, and they just kind of copped out, added some blood and guts and things you don't want to look at, and called it a day.
Cool.
Um, yeah,
Outlast 2.
Outlast 2. And for my final pick, again, I don't know how they would do it, and I feel like no one would necessarily buy it because of how bad it failed with its original one. But No Man's Sky. I love space. I love everything about space. I love exploring. So the whole concept of No Man's Sky was fantastic to me. Contrary to what everyone else thought, I loved the original No Man's Sky. It did get a little bit repetitive, but there was always things to do. It was kind of like a Minecraft. Like, does Minecraft get repetitive? Sure, but people still play it. And so to me, it was the same kind of thing. Like you could always go explore planets, set up new bases, set up a new ship. You could just explore, and there was like trillions of galaxies that you could go through. And I feel like if they've expanded upon it now, and I feel like if they re-released a game adjusting to what they had hyped it to in the beginning, that it could be a really, really good game.
You know
Hear
what's
me
crazy about
out.
No Man's Sky? It's only 4 years old. It came out in 2016.
Did it really?
Yeah.
So it's still new. Pretty new.
Yeah.
So hear me out. Just make it Star Wars and an expanded universe where you can kind of travel around and explore a lot. And if you want to do some building, you do some building. Like maybe you're part of the miners. Forget exactly.
Trade Federation.
Well, Lando's people.
Oh, okay. Yeah. From Bespin.
And there you go. I got you.
Or
There you
hear
go.
me out.
Hear Joe out.
You just play Space Engineers.
There you go. That's actually a better idea.
Yeah, I haven't played that.
You need to.
I need to.
Yeah.
It's everything that I wanted No Man's Sky to be. So we'll just say that.
Is it still graphically as beautiful? Because I really thought No Man's Sky was a really pretty
No.
game.
It's not as graphically nice as No Man's Sky, but what it lacks in graphics and in all that like really great engine stuff, it makes up for with just the amount of customization that you can do with your buildings. And like you could pretty much, if you can make it fly, you could take it to space pretty much.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you could just build whatever you want. Like you could build something that's shaped like a pyramid and fly it to space. If you can figure out how to get the mechanics to work, you can build whatever you want.
Yes. I'm a fan. I want to fly a pyramid into space.
Yeah, there you go.
Who
Illuminati
doesn't?
into space.
In Illuminati into space.
Awesome. Great.
So yeah, those are my last two picks.
So for my last pick, I'm gonna go with one that's not a sequel per se, but a game that I want to see some overhauling and expansion content for. The MMO Star Wars: The Old Republic. So
Ooh, good one.
yeah, so the Star Wars universe obviously has like limitless content for creating story-driven narratives that just fully immerse you into their world. Because I remember while playing all the different storylines and classes, that I actually felt like I was in control of the story and that my decisions like fully affected the world around me. And I'd definitely get lost there for hours, like thinking that I am this bounty hunter, I am this Imperial agent, like I am this person that I am playing. Like I'm just fully immersed into it. And now like, I want more of that with like an updated graphical engine. Because I mean, who doesn't love just running around hacking and slashing everything with lightsabers? Like, I want more of that. Just
That-
give me more content. That's all I want. So that's it. That's all I have to say on that. Give me more.
Okay. I have to finish this, don't I?
Yep.
So I have 8 left on my list. Um, yeah, this is a hard one for me to. I don't even know where to go. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go with one of my favorite games of all time. It's literally impossible to choose from 8. And I'll go with Tactics Ogre. Let us cling together. The Ogre Battle series in general is one that gets no love whatsoever. It was one of the best series in my opinion. All of the storylines were good. All the games were innovative. It was like Tactics Ogre came out in the same time frame as Final Fantasy Tactics. Joe can talk about Tactics as much as I could talk about Tactics Ogre. Uh, Final Fantasy Tactics was definitely a cleaner game for sure. The class system was better, but in my opinion, Tactics Ogre, it's one of the few games that I cried at a part during the game. It is the storyline is that like involved. You're just that involved in the storyline. It's a beautiful, beautiful game. It's very like this is a PlayStation 1 game. I mean, the graphics are nothing, to write home about. It looks like Final Fantasy Tactics. It's the overhead tactical RPG, but
Okay.
it's just such a beautiful story. I just loved all the Ogre Battle games in general. They were all just so good, but that one in particular really grasped me. And if you take that game somehow, or realistically, if you just take whoever created all of the Ogre Battle games, because there was, I think, 3 or 4 of them. There was Ogre Battle on Genesis, Tactics Ogre on PlayStation 1, and Ogre Battle 64 on, 64. If you just take all of those, whoever made those games, and create a new RPG on PlayStation 5, I would buy that game just because I'd assume they would figure out how to make it unbelievable because all 3 of those games had unbelievable stories, great characters. I was fully involved, like fully invested in all of the characters. Such a beautiful series. So Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together. That would be the game that I would love to have a sequel of today.
Well, and I think too, I
That's
think
great.
that I've talked about it before too, is I feel like the games from like older generations, what they because they knew that they lacked things graphically, you know what I mean? And so they really had to dive into the story. And so I feel like some of those older games really do have some of the best stories.
I mean, they were the best graphics that they could do at the time.
Yeah.
But I also agree with that. You had to try to keep your audience entertained and involved by the storyline. Where nowadays you see these beautiful graphics and it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
You just put Keanu Reeves there and you're like, oh well, gotta buy this.
You know what's crazy? Tactics Ogre came out in '95, which is like a couple years before, like maybe 2 years before Final Fantasy Tactics. But if you look at the two games side by side, like Ogre Battle looks like it was made like 10 years before it.
Yeah, probably. I never remembered the game being that graphically like, oh my god, it was never a game I was like, awesome graphics, but it was a game where I, I mean, there was a death in that game that I remember was like, wow, that hurt me at my inner being.
Just pulling at the heartstrings.
It really was. I had so many to choose from. This was a hard one for me, boys.
Yeah, this was a pretty tough one, but I mean, we did it. We got through it.
We did.
Yes,
We're
we
done.
did.
We made it.
So I'm gonna go over each person's list one more time for everybody. So Jesse's 4, we've got Uncharted Waters: New Horizons, Pokemon the trading card game, Skyrim yet again, and Tactics Ogre. My list, I'm gonna have Super Mario RPG, Crazy Taxi, Diablo 4, and Star Wars: The Old Republic. And Connor's list is Dante's Inferno, Overwatch 2, Outlast 2, and No Man's Sky. So, episode 8 in the books, boys.
There we go. There we
Nailed
go.
That was a
it.
good one.
That was a good one. I
Now,
really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I enjoy all of them, but
Yeah.
this one tickled me a little bit differently than the others.
It did. I really
Yeah.
liked it.
So before we sign off, do we have a question set up for next week already? Do you want to talk about it, Jess?
We do, but why don't we talk about how to get a hold of us?
So, if you guys want to get a hold of us and answer any of the questions that we've answered today, or let us know what you think of the show, you can contact us on our social media or via email. So for Facebook and Instagram, that's going to be I Might Need This Later AGP. For Twitter, you're going to reach us at IMNTL_podcast, or you can get us by email at I Might Need This Later AGP@gmail.com.
All
So
right.
what do you got for us for next week?
So next week we're going the opposite way. We're going with least favorite character.
Ooh, least favorite character? That's very broad. Okay.
Yes. Well, I had 11 for this week. I may have.
And I may have
40
50 for that one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, one more thing before we go. What are you guys playing this week?
Well, I'm thinking Joe and I are gonna play some Raft.
Yeah, we are.
We're gonna play some Raft.
I've played like in the last like day and a half. I've played like 10 hours of Raft. I think it's ridiculous. Like, how do I put in that many hours in a day and a half?
That's pretty simple.
Yeah. And I'm hooked, so I'm definitely gonna be playing some Raft.
You're on a Raft.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
on a Raft.
what more do you want?
And
What
then the
more
shark just won't leave me alone. I keep stabbing him, but he keeps coming back.
Yeah, he's relentless.
He's a
Persistence.
jerk.
Real persistent.
And I'll probably play a little more Escape from Tarkov. I've died a lot. Well, that's all I've done, to be honest with you. But I'm doing my best.
My PC is out of the hospital, so it is here. I just have to hook it up. Once I get it hooked up, I'm gonna be jumping back into Fallen Order, trying to be the best Sith that I can be.
All right. Well, that just about does it for us. So, for Jesse and Connor, my name's Joe, and thanks for listening to I Might Need This Later, a Gamers Podcast. See you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Oh, yes.